what I'm going to do is in my course details component, because what we need to do is we need to break if it's shared and mutable, we need to make it shared or mutable. In this case, we want to break the sharing portion of it. So I'm going to change this to chorus, and I'm going to update this a little bit so that we're going to turn this into a setter method. So if there's no value, return, but if there is a value, we're going to now go this.current course equals value, and we're going to set original title. So we're basically taking and doing what we did in the parent component, and we're moving it down to here. So this original title equals this current course title. We'll set this here, and let me go back into my container component, and here we go. If I type this in, and so we've broken the shared mutable relationship, and then if I go back to the course details component, then I can reset this to original title, and we are good to go. Let me refresh this here. Holla. So it's updating here, but it's not updating the title. More importantly, is it's not updating the object in the list because they're not the same object. And now what I can do is if I want to cancel, it just throws those mutations away. No big deal. Or if I wanted to update this, then I should be able to go save, and it's updated. Also interesting is that, if I'm not mistaken, I think this also updated the REST API. So we've actually done a lot of work in a very short amount of time. And so just to review, so how can we tell a container component from a presentation component? Well, thank you for asking. This is a pretty good indication that this is a presentation component. Now, what's cool about this is if a unit test exists to test logic, how do you test a component that doesn't have any logic? Well, the answer is you do not, at least not via unit test. There's nothing to test here. That not only have we simplified the code volume and flow control, meaning we know exactly where the data is coming from, we know exactly where the events are going, but we've also eliminated the surface area in which we need to test, which is really, really, really amazing. Now, if we look at our course details component, there is a little bit of logic in here, but it has nothing to do with application state. The logic in this component is entirely self-contained and related to presentation state. And so this is also a very, very, very small, clean component. Now, if you look at the container component, on the other hand, you'll notice that its template, all it's doing is attaching presentation components to the DOM. So it is purely for layout. But then if you look inside of the methods, inside of your container component, this is where we're pulling data in and where we're pulling data in, as well as if something happens, then we're issuing a command out. Now, let me just show one thing real quick. And this is, right now, we're unpacking our courses and assigning it to the result to a local member. What I can also do is I can just define an observable stream that has essentially an array of course objects. And from here, what I can do is, I'm just going to save this off, and I can go, this courses equals this courses service.all, like so. And let me see if I can get this to take. I think I need to do this. Let me see if I can loosen this up just so I can get this working. This is what I do when, like, I need to get it working. I'll tighten up the typings later. Is that now what I'm doing is I'm saying, give me all of the courses, but we're still keeping it as an observable stream. So if I go back here, obviously nothing is happening. But if I go into my courses template here, what I can do is pass this in this way, and I am really, really hoping that this renders. So now what's cool is you can see here that inside of the code, I am no longer required to unpack this inside of my container component. What I am doing instead is just preserving the observable stream and then using the async pipe, just pushing this into the component, which then it now gets unwrapped and put into the courses list as a collection of course objects. So that concludes my component-driven architecture demonstration. I yield the floor to Mark to answer any questions that anybody has.
Do you recommend to change the detection behavior and the presentational component?
I recommend that. I think that's a prudent move. It's for a small application. It's not always necessary, but for large scale applications, I think turning change detection off is it makes sense. And so I know for large applications, because a lot of this is being handled by the observable stream, that it's pushing data out. And so Angular's not having to like I don't know when data's coming because the observable stream is handling it. That there have been I know certain applications that they've turned off change detection and allowed the observable streams to handle it, and they've seen phenomenal performance increases as a result of that. So I think for large-scale applications, you can absolutely turn off change detection because there's really no need to do that because the observable stream is handling the flow control concerns.